mic's on. You can hear me okay? Excellent. Guys, you all get my brownie points for staying second day after tonight's out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I love you. Thank you for this. I really appreciate it. But you're here for these incredible guys. So put your phones down and your laptops down because you really want to listen to them. And you'll want to ask them questions, I'm sure of it. My name is Maya Santamaria. This is my second in-person EBC. Actually, the first one was meant to be in this building when it burned down, almost. Was the third one. But I remember because we did have a panel discussion about tokenization of things. We were barely starting to come to grasps with what it meant. But we managed to have a whole panel discussions with that mentioned regulation. So I was just listening to the influencers and they mentioned regulation. This is the rule. We're not going to mention the word regulation in our panel discussions. This is rule number 1. And rule number 2 is you all have to smile because picture's taken and I really want to have a very nice picture of this panel discussion. So that's enough about me. If that's okay, I would really like you guys to intro yourselves for just a minute. I know everybody can find you online and on LinkedIn, but I have had the pleasure to meet all of you, and some of you I know a bit more, and I know you're cracking people. And I know your personalities don't shine through as much as they do in real life on LinkedIn. So please introduce yourselves for about 30 seconds, please, and your companies.
Hi, I'm Tomaz. I'm an ecosystem manager at the Hyperledger Foundation. And the Hyperledger Foundation is an open source collaboration focused on developing and frameworks, libraries, and tools for deployment of enterprise-grade blockchains. And we are a collaboration under the Linux Foundation.
Thanks, Thomas. Greg?
Hi, I'm Greg Chu. I'm the CEO and founder of QPQ. Some of you will have seen us in the hallway outside. We're developing something we refer to as the Internet of Economics, which is really to transform where we are today into a single substrate that everybody can transact upon, everyone can add value to, and that everybody owns. We're starting that by uniting all of the blockchains, bringing them together, consolidating them to create a truly interoperable layer 0, one DLT. So look out for that. It is probably, I think, the biggest news since the crypto white paper for Ethereum in 2014. We're now talking about the ability to scale blockchain to really be able to make it operate and function for the purposes that it's intended.
Excellent, thanks.
Hey guys, I'm Jason from Centurion Invest. We have a wallet, exchange, whatever you need for crypto, we make it. So we onboard token, coin, and user. And so make sure that all the tokens, all the coins can enjoy with the market and user at the same time.
Hi, I'm Bill Fehr. My involvement with crypto started in 2010 when I bought a beer at Nola's Bar in Palo Alto and sat next to 4 student miners that were talking about something called Bitcoin. And today I'm vice president of Polyswarm, a cybersecurity company built using a blockchain and a token. Thanks
a million, Bill. Very good. I love you guys. I'm just going to say apologies for the lack of diversity in this panel. It wasn't meant to be.
I'm very diverse, darling. I have a whole series of personalities here.
We did try. Excellent. Listen, let's kick off the tokenization of everything. Just a tiny example for the real amateurish that don't know anything. But Bill, you have a blockchain around your neck. Could you tokenize that?
Sure. I mean, you can tokenize anything tangible or intangible. It's the notion of being able to, when the internet started, we decentralized information, right? Blockchain and crypto is really just an evolution of what we've been doing since 1996, 97, where now we are going to tokenize information and provide a way to transact and put value on all that information that we've had on the internet that's been decentralized. And we've decentralized a way to put value to it. And you can do the same thing with tangible things, like a shirt or a blockchain around your neck. You can assign a value to anything. Sure.
I don't agree. Fundamentally, you can't tokenize anything because who owns the thing? Who's custodying the asset? What about all the data that pertains to that asset? There are things that we can tokenize and that they can have their own value independent of any other data. But actually, when we start thinking about things like your shirt, or get more serious, your car, your house, bonds, equities, IP, a shipment of goods, a shipment of oil, something that's still in the ground. I mean, how could we, for example, enable the developing world to capture the fact that 62% of the world's agricultural land is in Africa? How do we give them something that allows them to monetize that? So if we start to, and we're doing this, we're actually working on something that takes us way beyond tokens. It talks about data-rich digital assets. The first thing that we did with it was actually an ESG sandbox in London, City of London. And we're actually working at the moment with a company in the UK, a big commercial farming operation, to map out all of the land they have. I think what 3 words are involved as well. Map all of the land out into 3 meter by 3 meter chunks, and then you can begin to talk about everything that comes out of that land, everything that goes into it. So carbon sequestration, nitrate sequestration, the production of foods from that. But you can extend that to the whole wide world. However, it doesn't change the fact that you still have serious amounts of data that pertain to that thing that tokens only point at.
Right. Well, tokens are a way to provide to transact the value of it, particularly like what Proppy's doing in Palo Alto. They're tokenizing real estate, right? Well, they're using the legal system in an LLC on, like, say, a house or an apartment building, and then they're tokenizing the access. They're tokenizing the LLC, right? So you can now own a portion of a house or an apartment building by buying the token, and the token only is assigned to one LLC. The LLC is registered with the county to pay the taxes on the real estate. So you can do it. You can do that just about anything. When it comes to a token like this chain or my shirt, you're really talking about identity and security, and how do I make sure that's the thing that's tokenized. But you can really assign a value to anything. That's what fiat does, after all.
No, fiat's a means of reducing something to a base value. But fundamentally, you still haven't dealt with the problem. You've got an LLC, so who controls the LLC? Where's the paperwork pertaining to that LLC? The thing of it is, you just can't get away from this issue. Tokens point at assets. They are not in of themselves assets. Now, that does not mean that things cannot be tokenized. So, for example, one of the projects we're talking to, they're going to use NFTs to track chemical changes in a process. That's a good idea. That's a good use of tokens. It's a good use in this context. But saying that you can transfer a piece of land doesn't work.
But you could tokenize transactions, you could tokenize property. I think you're kind of saying there's the same thing, but coming from different angles.
No.
All right.
No.
You know what? Let me
Jason,
kick it. Let me kick it.
I knew you were
All
going to
right.
say no.
Let
you
me
have to
put
wait.
myself in audience point of view. All right. So tokenization. You just talked about the data. You talked about the payment. Think about it. Tokenization is unifying it. So each unit, if we tokenize it, the first one, we got to talk about the payment token, then security token, the data token. It's all different things, but you guys all mix that up together and say, tokenization is this, that. No. Let's go with the one by one. Tokenization for everything. Tokenization first with a block or shirt, that's the unit, so there's the money part, right? The transaction and payment, so payment token. Now you talk about token with the data or more sophisticated things, that's next level. So let's go with the first one. So people wants to know tokenization is for everything. Is that possible? Yeah, it is possible in a way, but not for everything, right? So first layer, the moderator question was, is that tokenizable? Yes. Then we finish it there. Let's don't kill him.
Doesn't mean you should.
There's Victoria, there's a potential moderator there in Jason for the future. Loved it. Greg, anything else you want to say? So.
No, I mean, look, you just because you can do things doesn't mean you should. It's
No,
like,
absolutely.
I can jump off a cliff,
yes.
but I should not.
Yes. And to Jason's point, everything could be tokenizable or could be or will be, but doesn't mean we want to, right?
Let me go with the one thing. When you use your credit card, some of the countries have a reward point. It's a point, right? The point in certain period later is enough to change it to money or enough to buy something else. What's the difference between token and that reward point? We need to know that first, right? See, tokenization for everything in business is possible, but tokenization for every single project, No, man, guys, come on. Like I said, security token, payment token, but the world, 90% of a token is looking at the payment part. I don't know why. Because that's more profitable. It's closer to the market, maybe.
Dude, number go up.
Number go up. Yes, yes. If you look at the coin market cap or CoinGecko, you will see 2,000s of tokens. And every day, there's more than 100 tokens coming out. Since 2017, they've been tokenizing everything. But did they really tokenize it? They talked about it. Token came out, but tokenization never happened.
But like, and I know, obviously, you're a markets man. It's all about making the money, and I appreciate that. There's a business to be made here. But why does tokenization just have to be about the markets, just about the money? What about tokenization for democratization, for example? Fractionalization in a different way, maybe just to increase access or liquidity. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's what Proppy's doing. I mean, that's what they're doing with real estate, right? So now you can, before in real estate, or currently in real estate, you have to have a lot of money to buy an apartment building in Manhattan, right? Millions and millions of dollars. But if the guy that owns that building and tokenizes it using Proppy, then people all around the world can own a piece of that. And as it goes up in value, they can sell that token on an exchange and realize that real estate appreciation, whether they're in Africa or here. That's pretty cool.
Putting to one side the let's pretend version of tokens and look at the question. The question was, is there anything else that we can do with tokens? There are shed loads of things we can do with them. The example I gave of that company that's working with one of the biggest chemicals companies, they want to have a process of certifying all of the chemical reactions have occurred. So as they occur, it generates an NFT. That's a useful use of tokens. It injects that capacity to not have to trust the chemicals producer because there has been a consensus that an event has happened. There's a record. These are useful means of doing these things. We've had this is our second event. The first one was very slapdash, turned up the day before it kicked off. Really not an awful lot better this time because we're still catching up on things, but we have about 90 projects talking to us at this stage, and all of them, I'm delighted to say, have real uses for DLT. Not one of them is about a white paper that says number go up and to the moon.
Okay, very interesting.
I agree with you, Greg, that you can basically tokenize everything if you want to, but do you need to? Do you want to do it? No. And when you're mentioning fractionalization, we have a member called Bondi Value who fractionalized bond exchange. So it's the first regulated bond exchange in the world, and you can get a bond for as little as $1,000 because otherwise you would have to pay. It's a high entry barrier, so we'd have to pay $200,000 for getting to the market. So I see a value in this sort of tokenization. Another problem that I see with tokenizing the assets in the physical realm is that often you do need to have some sort of a bridge, right? Because we are always saying you can tokenize it, it's transparent, it's traceable and so on, but there is a difference between the recording, the asset transfer or the recording of asset transfer, meaning that there has to be some sort of gateway to ensure that this is really transparent and secure transaction. I'm not saying it's impossible at all, but something that we should keep in mind if we're talking about tokenizing everything in the physical realm.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, when you think about tokenizing something, let's take a house, okay? I don't know how it works in most countries, but in Ireland, we have the Land Registry Office. They have a listing of all the houses. So your house has a whole pile of data that attaches to it. The registration of the house is with the Land Registry Office. Unless they say that you own that house, you don't own it. Take a car. Again, same thing. There's a bill of materials. There's an entire pipeline of data that came together to bring that car into existence as a legal entity on the roads of your country. I don't know who the regulator would be in different places. Sorry to be using that bad word, but you know what I mean. The registrar. Okay. So what we've done, we actually looked beyond tokens, and there's still a token involved because you need the token to pass through the distributed ledger layers. But what we've done is we've attached all of the data, all of the creation data, all of the life cycle data to that token by a mathematical duality. So they're always staying in sync. And that means for the first time, we are actually able to transfer whole assets. So I could sell you my car. You would be extremely happy. I call her Matilda.
Oh dear.
She's quite old, but, you know, she works. You would actually be able to drive off having the ownership records automatically update with the registrar. This is how we really get into the digitalization of the economy. Tokens have their role. They are the piece that moves through the DLT layer, but that's the limit of their role, because otherwise we're just back to the same state of having assets that remain in custody. You're reincorporating third-party trust all over again. And actually, you're reestablishing exactly the same barriers to opportunity, trade, emancipation that have always been there. So if you want to talk about democratizing, this is how we democratize. We remove the gateways, the people who hold the bridges and the gates and say, hey, we control this, we control trade. No, create a common substrate, recognize how assets can be properly created and established, and then they can move, and people can begin to finance what they have. They can begin to trade in ways that, you know, the old adage, can you trade guns for butter? Yes, you can. What? Can you establish a currency by the reference to the oil in the ground, the coal in the ground? Can people begin to take their natural resources in their countries, in these third world countries, and use that as a base for creating a new currency? Yes.
Can we just stop there? Because I really like the concept you introduced to discussion of the digital economy and obviously the tokenization that would bring me back. And it's obviously, I think, very noble to think about all the extra examples when you talk about third world countries and land and so forth. Let's just take a quick pulse. I'm just looking at the audience here. I can't see everyone, but I'll see most. How many of you are actually resident in Spain? You put your hands up? Okay, quite a few of you. How many of you have crypto assets? I won't say cryptocurrencies. Okay, quite a few of you. How many of you are happy about the new tax rules about holding of cryptocurrencies in Spain? Right. Right. The point making is we are here because we obviously want to understand about this technology. We obviously believe in this technology. But at what point there is a barrier to be passed in terms of all tokens just because they happen to be on a blockchain, become taxable or become regulated? Or, I mean, there's a huge step forward. I said it so I can penalize myself. But like, I see the intent, but I see the obstacles, is what I'm saying. You know, we're going from taxing gains to taxing just holding an asset, for example. Like, so from a tokenization perspective, how would that ever work, whether it's for goodness or not?
Look, what you're talking about is, I always push back at the idea that regulators are there to protect incumbent interests, because I never thought that was true. But I have seen instances of it recently. So I was sent a questionnaire by a leading government in the continent of Europe who asked the question, how would we protect incumbent interests? And my response that I actually did send in was, this is a little bit like the sled pullers union complaining about the rapid adoption of wheels. But here's the thing. The more that those actors try and protect those incumbent interests, the more they kill them. Because this is not the progressive ... state. This is like a torrent. And at a point, the more you build the walls and you fail to join the torrent, the more you become crushed by it. And I think there has to be a good dialogue between the forthcoming digitalization economy and the incumbent actors. I think they have hugely profitable futures. They're just not doing what they're doing now. Look, the example I give people is, who here remembers the film The Mission? Okay, very small audience for The Mission. So The Mission was a film in which this conquistador goes to the New World. Oh, yeah. And it's Robert De Niro plays the conquistador. He's got all the equipment to fight a 15th century battle in Europe, you know, the helmet, the helm, the sword, everything. And Jeremy Irons plays this Jesuit priest who basically has a cross, a pair of pajamas, and a sword. And of course, Jeremy Irons can go straight up the top of this mountain. He's got no problem whatsoever. But Robert De Niro's entire journey is dragging this huge weight of armor and equipment with him, which he doesn't need. It's irrelevant to the new world.
We have 18 minutes, Greg. Come on.
Okay, so the point of it is, when he gets separated from that, that's the point at which he actually can climb. And this is the same thing, that many of these incumbent institutions are failing to understand that the things they think are their assets today are actually their liabilities, and they need to cut them loose and embrace the future. That does not mean helter-skelter, that does not mean number go up is okay, but it does mean that there is a viable future here that involves proper dialogue on all sides.
Thank you so much, Jason. I can see you wanting to put in.
I'm going to butt in just a little bit. I'm from Korea, and Japan is right next to us. Actually, Japan started this taxation on crypto. But when we start in Asia, first, what should we tax first? Profit area or holding area? Now, first problem is the profit area, when we enter, when we lose a lot of money, are we going to pay back? Or are we going to give them a discount on the next shift, next year? So it's really hard to make the index of taxation. So we come up with a 20% with a VAT 2%, so 22% on profit in every 3 months. So they just check each exchange, not the wallet, exchange. So they need to, government must attack the centralized institution to see how much they gain or how much they lose first. But second part is, not only the gaining and losing part, crypto volatility is just so up and down, they cannot settle where to taxate it. So they pick the point, say, okay, I'm going to tax it now. But 6 months later, it went down so low, should I tax it or not? I put like 10% taxation rule in this snapshot area, but 6 months later, went 10 times up. Should I tax it more or less? So government doesn't even know where to tax it. Now, holding part, again, in future, way out there, 5 years later or whatever, when government kicks in with a CBDC and everything, all digitalized, all crypto is welcome, then maybe they can tax it. For now, they cannot. Let's say, one example, 2017, let's say I purchased $1 million worth of Bitcoin. So 2022, I'm going to get the heavy tax. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send it to you. Hey, Greg, I trust you, send it back to me. Then index change, I don't have to pay tax.
So taxation, whatever your society, your community is going to do to you, doesn't really, has nothing to do with tokenizing everything.
No. Actually, here
because you're living
it goes.
Yeah,
Tokenization is not really good for us, actually, because it's transparent. Now, there's no tax cut. We have to pay the full amount.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject, but again, maybe it's not really on tokenizing everything, but I think there's a big need for privacy and privacy coins, right? I mean, there's a need to not be transparent, right? A lot of things wouldn't have ever happened throughout human history if the king knew that that these guys were talking about it, right? There's a cost to being transparent. That's why these people are working on privacy coins. There's a bunch of projects that are doing that. Some that are pretty successful, and it threatens governments. But it's also, we're not talking about tokenizing everything anymore.
As a company who are largely staffed by people who were in GCHQ and the NSA, how do you really square with the idea that total secrecy is a good thing?
Well, if George Washington and Benjamin Franklin were using Facebook and the FBI could listen to what they were talking to, or King George could listen to what they were talking to, I don't think there would be an American Revolution or America as you know it today. We'd still be English like you.
That wasn't my question. What I'm asking is, you're saying that there's a need for a privacy token.
I think there's a need for, even though a lot of bad things happen in private, like on Signal or apps like that, sure, bad guys are doing things that shouldn't be done, and it's bad. And governments would say, hey, we should have visibility to all that. We're only going to go after the guys that are doing child porn or blowing up buildings. Anything else we won't look at, unless you're talking about overthrowing the government or something like that. Again, there's a need for society, for mankind to have private conversations and not have anybody look in on it. And actually, crypto provides that.
I don't know how we went from tokenization to privacy to tax, but I did promise you an interesting panel discussion this afternoon, so there you go. I think this is all, obviously, it's all interesting, and it's clearly, it speaks up to your areas of expertise, right? The point of bringing in the taxes, I was hoping to really draw out was we all want this tokenization, we all want and can see the good, but the reality is if we are slapped up with a tax that we didn't want in the first place, we might not accept it. So, Jason, you mentioned 5 years. I mean, we first started talking about tokenization of everything right here at the EBC 2 years ago. Yeah, we're moving. You know, certainly NFTs did not exist in the mainstream like they did 2 years ago, but we're not quite there yet, and there are some obstacles, and I was just trying to draw those out for the audience. Say, Desmond, sorry.
Well, when I got invited to this panel, first thing that I was going to say was tokenization. We got to go to the first step. When we make a token, you got to know how the token comes out from. I mean, we have a mainnet coin with a block producing, and when they have a mainnet running, they have a capacity to make the token. That's why Ethereum has an ERC20, and there's a TRC20, there's a BEP20. You hear all the tokens name, but when you look at the project and look at their token type, do you really know why they use that token? Because I've been reviewing over 4,000 companies, 4,000 white papers. I'm with the exchange listing process. I'm seeing every single project. And we talked about tokenization. We always talk about the bright part. But we need to know why we are making a token. First, token is built on zero base, backed up. So it's not security, so we're not supposed to. So we make something. So instead of having some asset, he and I get together, hey, let's make 1 trillion token today. We can make it. Hey, and go to the exchange and, hey guys, how about 10 cents? I'll give you 2 million. Then it's gonna be 10 cents, 1 trillion token in the market. Just one white paper. No marketplace, no user needed. You have an exchange, you have a tech, not even tech. You have a knowledge, then you can actually tokenize something. So, I mean, from this point on, I wish EBC will make this start, and you guys will see why Ether token, why Tron token, why Binance Smart Chain token. First thing is they want to get listed early and fast, right? ERC20 is, we also call Ethereum as ICO coin because ICO boom happened with Ethereum, and it's easy adaptability. Let's go back to tokenization. Why are we doing it? First is getting the fund out of the people from the public. So the public can use it in certain ways. So it's our job. All the engineer, all the owner must make a market ready and let people purchase the token, not only trading, and use it in the market. If we start doing this, then government will like it. Tokenization will be welcomed everywhere. And then tokenization is easy because it's easy to transfer. And all the marketplace will say, okay, now I will trust, oh, you can pay with that token or with this token. Then regulation will be, we don't want to talk about the regulation, but regulation will be there to guide it. That's what government will do. But us, we will enjoy it. So easy payment, easy purchasing will happen. Like tokenization with a shirt, block, whatever, food, pizza. If that happens, then payment is ready. Now let's talk about utility part. Now the whole market ecosystem must be controlled by blockchain. And within the blockchain, token will be used to make that ecosystem platform run. Then tokenization is good. You want to?
No.
Knew it. Go on, Greg. Go on.
No, it's okay.
Go on.
I think I've made this point already. Just no. Back to you.
Is that because his answer is mostly based on Ethereum and?
No, it's no because you know what? Me making up a token and then somebody else buying it and thinking that it will go up, number go up to the moon. This is the greater fool game, and I get very angry about this because I actually think what they're doing is taxing despair and they're destroying hope.
On that high note.
Look, vast majority of people everywhere in the world, this isn't restricted to the third world, this is here present right now today amongst this room. Most people are economically disenfranchised.
Yes.
We have no ability to participate in the economy to the extent that others do. This is what we're really trying to change. Making up spurious assets that don't really exist on a number go up basis is just finding that pain and turning it into somebody else's profit. I have lots of bad words for that.
And experience. So as a former trader, I 100% know it comes from experience as well and knowledge. You want to say something there, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with the first half of that. I mean, going back to democratizing and how that's really changing power and human behavior and the world, just take a look at ICOs. I mean, I think probably a lot of people in this room realize that up until ICOs and crypto, if you want to do a startup, you have to go out to California, to Silicon Valley, where 85% of the VC is located in a very small area by a very small group of people, and that's how you get your money for your startup. You don't get it in Barcelona. You don't get it in Africa. ICOs and crypto changed that. You know, I met four guys in
Not really.
I met four guys.
A16Z and all of their cronies are still the ones steaming into the NFT world, pretending that a Bored Ape is a useful thing.
But I met four guys in Korea in 2018 that did an ICO with Ethereum when Ethereum was $5. And when I met them in 2018, Ethereum was $800, and they had $400 million. They'd never gone to Stanford or MIT. They've never been to the United States. They've never been to Palo Alto. And these guys had energy. They had an idea, and they had the money now, the power, now, and they were gonna do this startup. That's pretty significant. That changes the power from basically the white men in Palo Alto that have been running things for years, where you can't even invest in Amazon before it's public unless you have a high net worth. You know, in the United States, you can't make money unless you're already rich.
So now
People probably know that already too. So ICOs, crypto has changed that. So just think about the significance of that, because money is power. So
Yeah,
these four guys in their 20s in Korea have a lot of power now, and maybe what their idea is and their startup will change the world.
Actually, exactly same thing happened to my friend, but opposite way. He did the ICO in 2017, and he collected all the Ethereum, and he followed the rule just correctly, and plunge happened without even starting his business. 90% is gone. So, I mean, crypto was that dangerous, and ICO was. I know it is giving.
I mean, life's dangerous, right?
Oh yeah, life is dangerous, but not that.
Look, I think it's something really special now that we can have DAOs where less than 1% of the DAO controls the DAO. We can have ICOs where every one of us gets the ability to be completely screwed by people with lots of money in California who pretend that a Bored Ape actually has some value.
Oh dear. Excellent. Never a dull moment with these guys. Listen, we have 5 minutes to go, and I'd really like to ask the audience for questions. I really appreciate you've actually stuck with us so late in this Tuesday afternoon, after 2 long days. Any questions for any of these amazing panelists, please? Put your hands up, we'll bring a mic. Anybody? No questions whatsoever? Sorry, I can't see. Oh, someone up there. Do you have a mic? You want to come down? Sorry, how do we see, is there a particular question for anyone? How do you see the role of perpetual capital?
The role of venture capital in tokenization?
Come on down. Take the mic. Come on.
That's all right.
Come down. Don't be scared. I don't eat people. I may be fat, but I don't eat people.
Anybody else has a question?
Thanks, Greg.
You lost your mic.
So thank you very much.
You can answer.
My question about the role of venture capitals. I mean, and we have a lot of ICOs in 2017. Big venture capital, they bought a lot and then they resold it to the people and so on. How do you see the role of the venture capital actually for the market, for the stability of the ecosystem, and to really believe what does mean tokenization?
The role of venture capital should be to actually help businesses build, grow, to find the right pathways that take them forward. What we're seeing with that particular community is more about how to create the maximum amount of FOMO so that number can go up and to the moon.
Right. I mean,
Anyone
that's
dares
what
to
people do
debate
try
that?
whether you're making pizzas or, you know, apes, you want people to buy it and be excited about it. That's just, it's called the economy of making money. But your question, I mean,
something of value in the first.
There you go, Greg.
yeah. So the VCs are still doing their jobs and all that. I'm just saying the power, what crypto has done is allowed a shift in power. You know, so these guys in Korea or the guys in Africa that I know, or the guys in Japan, or the guys down in Puerto Rico, they're doing things that they couldn't do before. You know, they just didn't have access. And that's pretty profound, really.
All right, I'm gonna just add
Thanks
just
for that question.
one light thing really
Okay.
quickly. All right, the economy and all this trading platform is very honest, actually. Money comes in, they never go out, and it'll go up. And money drained, and it goes down. Up and down is always there. So who's gonna make the continuous injection happen? That's the company. And venture capital will help to speed that up, right? So companies' role, blockchain company, crypto company, must generate profit, generate interest so that more people come in and put their money down so that tokenization, whatever, that token price will go up. Yeah.
Let's
so,
be careful about this,
I-
okay? Because where we're talking about a company, that company produces something and it has a revenue sheet, it has a balance sheet. All of these things are happening, and what you're actually buying is the company's potential to earn money today and so many years into the future. When you're looking at projects that have a number go up philosophy, what you're actually looking for is the greater fool that will buy the next piece at a slightly higher price and allow that speculative curve to exist.
But
That's a
actually,
different
I
thing.
was going to end my statement with this. This is kind of dangerous statement. So at the end, tokenization is great, yet we need to get away from the fiat money. So real, true economy, money part, we depend on it. So if you think about the Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, all the tokens, we go back to money indexing, isn't it? So if a token itself has a value, we can do something with it, then token will gain the power.
But token needs to have a value. That's the point. Now, up, I've got the microphone. Okay, so, so look, very simply, I was at a conference last week in Zurich, not as a sponsor, attending, and there were some people there from the ESG community, and they were talking about, wouldn't it be amazing if we could tokenize a tree? And that we could actually start to make trees into an exchangeable value. And to my point, if you have all of the data that proves that that tree exists and you can continuously prove the existence of that tree, then yes, you could actually do this. But then you're talking about having a token in the DLT layer and data that pertains to the tree that proves that tree exists attaching to that token. And that's not what happens. That's what we're making happen next year. But it's not what happens now.
You are confusing the audience again. Now I'm not talking about the data. I'm just going back. This year and probably next year, I'm going to come back and I'm going to give you guys the probably new set. Platform token, trading token will be separated. And I'm going to create not just metaverse, but certain place with a smart city concept, tokenized, blockchain-driven, only token-driven area where you can purchase coffee, where you can purchase food, everything. So tokenization will have that kind of new set instead of the existing traditional economy.
This is a promise that we're going to see next year, Jason. Yep. So we're all coming back to see this next year. It's on camera. We're all no. Very good. Oh, no. I'm really sorry. Time's is up. I know there's a question there. Greg and Jason have booths outside. Just go outside, grab them, ask those questions, unless you want to have it now. Do we have time? I see Daniel going, no, no, no.
No.
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
Can I just ask the question
quick.
and then just so they can think about
it?
So if we go down the route of we can tokenize everything, and if I, for example, tokenize my shoelaces, who do you think should enforce my claim to my shoelaces?
That's the point I've been making.
Okay.
There's some really incredible lawyers in the audience. Joachim, I think he was here. That question, a lawyer will be able to answer for you. So make sure he's where he's up. Find him. If not, I'll tell you where he is. Sorry, a bit of applause for the audience. You've been really engaged. Thank you so much. Thank you. And to them, thank you guys. Till next year.